Hello, fellow human. Welcome back to another Dank Doggo rSlash ChoosingBeggars. So our story for today is from wSlash Octava Marie with the title of I Stole Your Identity, Now Please Go to Jail for Me. This is kind of a long one, so get some popcorn. About 15 years ago, I was in a car accident, not my fault, and I was awarded 25 grand in insurance money as a result. I took the opportunity to move out of my mom's house and get a cute little studio apartment for me and my cat. Two people on either side of the courtyard were very nice, and I made friends fairly quickly with all the neighbors despite being so much younger than all of them. After living there for around a year, I met a girl at my age, and we became friends, I thought. Good friends. She had marriage problems and was separated from her husband, and the two children she had were in foster care for reasons she wouldn't tell anyone. She begged me to help her to get her kids back from the CPS, so I got a list of guidelines from the local office, and together, Beggar and I started planning to try to get her children back. I bought her children furnishings and helped her to get a job. I even used some of my insurance money to help her to get a used car so that she had transportation for her and her kids. And she did get her kids back. They had a small 2-bedroom apartment. She slept on the couch, and her children each had their own bedrooms. The girl's room was decked out in Adore the Explorer furnishings that I had bought for her, and the boy's room was decorated with sports cars as he requested. It was a lot of money, but I was a sucker and I thought it was a good cause. Soon after getting her kids back, she stopped coming over as often. Her kids came over all the time, but she was usually nowhere to be seen. I found out that she was attempting to settle things with her husband, and he moved in with her, bringing his drug problems with him. I also noticed that the sleeping arrangements had changed. They had crammed the children into the smallest bedroom together, pawning off all the toys and furniture that wouldn't fit. Apparently, they used the money on pills. At this point, I sort of started distancing myself from Beggar because I don't want to be involved with someone doing drugs. I did still watch the kids, however, as I felt bad for them. Their parents were often found loaded up with pills and alcohol. At this point, I was out of the insurance money and was working 12-hour shifts with elderly hospice patients as caregiver. I used a large portion of my income to make sure the kids were fed since Beggar and her husband spent all their money on drugs and liquor. It also meant that I very rarely had time to hike down the center courtyard to check my mail. I'm guessing I had gone a month without looking, expecting that all I had was few catalogs and several copies of the weekly shopper coupons. I've learned my lesson and I check my mail often now, smiley face. When I opened my mailbox, I was alarmed by the large stack of government sealed letters that had been wedged in it. There were 6 separate letters, all of which accused me of a different offense. This culminated in my having 5 warrants out of my arrest and a court date. It turns out that Beggar had gotten an old used car from a local junk dealership. The car had, if I can remember the list, no tags and an expired license plate and a missing taillight, so of course it was pulled over. Beggar, being on a probational period with CPS, meaning if she stepped out of line, they would take her kids away again, panicked and decided she would lie about her identity. So she said she was me, and she was driving without a license and insurance because she had forgotten her purse. What a tramp! The first thing I did was to go to her and ask her what this was, as I recognized the model of the car as the one she was so proud to have gotten. After having pawned the car, I helped her to get a year prior. I didn't even know you could pawn a car, by the way. She smiled at me and simply said, "You don't have a criminal record, so they won't punish you like they would me. You don't want me to lose my kids again, do you?" I'm not sure what she expected, but I was beyond caring at this point. I was pissed. The first thing I did was cancel my work for the next few days, and I set about making appointments with my lawyer and the police officer that took Beggar's word that she was me, simply because she knew my name and address. The next day, I was at police department where I watched a video of the interaction between the cop and the Beggar. Turns out he was a newbie, and he just didn't want to get in trouble for taking someone's words when he really shouldn't have. And luckily for me, Beggar's husband was there, and she was instructed to switch seats with him because I can't allow you to drive without proper ID, ma'am. She then walked around the back of the car in full view of the camera. The officer admitted his mistake since I wasn't pregnant, my hair wasn't a gigantic curly mess, And I was a good foot taller than she was. I know I didn't mention her being pregnant, but I had to cut some things out. The next day on my way out to visit my lawyer, I was waylaid by Beggar and Beggar's mom. They were both furious at me for going to the police, and I was instructed to go back to the station and tell them I made a mistake and that I actually was the one at fault. When I said no, the poop hit the fan. Beggar left, but her mother remained. She stood in my way on my path and wouldn't let me to go to my car, always screaming about how she was going to tell everyone that I molested the children when they were in my care. I was young, and that did scare me a little because I didn't want to be placed on a list for something I would never do. Still though, I recognized that she was screaming these threats in full view of many neighbors in my courtyard, many of whom had stepped outside to see what all the fuss was about. The police were called, and she was given a warning. I was asked if I wanted to get a restraining order, but for some reason I said no. Over the next few days, CPS approached me and I told them everything, all the while feeling like I should have come forward sooner. The children were again taken into foster care, and that is where all of this should have ended, with me learning a valuable lesson. Nope. In the weeks followed, Beggar gave my phone number to everybody under the sun. I was called for drugs, sexual favors, and even for loans. One of my car's windows was smashed with a brick, and there was shoe polish writing words "lying tramp" on the back of the car. At one point, people start coming and banging on my door of my apartment in the middle of the night, and they shattered my front window and broke my bird feeder. I was saved from taking any legal action from all of this when Beggar's husband and Beggar were thrown into jail for identity theft, buying and selling drugs, all of the charges that had previously been mine, and child endangerment. There maybe have been more, but I can't remember. The apartment hired 24-hour security because of everything that happened, and also installed security cameras all around the courtyards. TLDR, I learned a hard lesson on who I can and cannot trust after having a friend steal my identity and almost getting tossed in jail for crimes that she committed. Edit, this happened in Texas. Wow, this was really tough to read. I mean, after everything OP had done for her and her kids, it is important to note that OP actually used insurance money to renovate the rooms for CB's kids. OP wasn't rich or anything. This isn't charity for her. It's just that she truly thought CB was her good friend and cared for her kids. And later, OP even worked a 12-hour shift just to feed them. Gosh, like OP was so nice, I'm gonna cry. And what did OP receive back for her amazing efforts? Got her identity stolen by someone who committed a lot of crimes. Tons of mails from the government and courts. Threatened by the CB's mom for freaking child molest? Like really? Like oh my god, like it didn't even stop there. When OP confronted CB about the whole thing, not even a single apologize. CB didn't even show a slight remorse of her actions. CB thought she was entitled to use OP's support, money, identity like that just because OP's slate was clean. And then, before getting arrested, CB even broke OP's windows, bird feed, OP's guards got smashed, and OP received like random calls from dangerous individuals. And the saddest thing of all this is that it isn't some weird country or anything. This actually happened in Texas. Like faith in humanity was restored thanks to OP's actions, but was once again lost due to CB and her husband and her mom's behaviors. Like, I don't even know should you even help others in times of crisis when there are these kind of people exist. I hope OP will receive the best things in her future for every good deeds she had done. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your Doggo comments, your experiences in the comment section. I will catch up with you guys later in the next video.